welcome to the KRI Recipe of the Month for February 2016. This month, we're delighted to be able to feature our new book, Enlightened Bodies, Exploring Physical and Subtle Human Anatomy. It's written by Nirmal, Lumpkin, and Japa, Khalsa, both healthcare professionals. The features of this book is that each chapter is a different system, such as your endocrine system, your lymphatic system, your digestive system, your circulatory system, etc. There's lots of beautiful illustrations that combine yogic philosophy, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, human anatomy to explain how things work in a very understandable and creative and inspiring way. Also within this book are lots of tips on health and recipes, and this month we're featuring one of the recipes from this book, and it's Yogi Bhajan's Beets and Potatoes. It's a rather unusual recipe. The beets and potatoes are cooked together, which we'll show you step by step following this introduction, and it's served on pita bread with goat cheese. It's a very satisfying snack, and beets are known to be very good for digestion and for the liver. It also has turmeric and black salt, which are very good for your other systems. So I hope that you'll take the time to explore this book on the KRI website. It's available as a print book or an ebook, and it's just really great that we were able to feature this and show you this new book that you can enjoy. So now, welcome to the KRI Kitchen for February 2016. This month, we're taking the recipe from the new KRI book called Enlightened Bodies, Exploring Physical and Subtle Human Anatomy. And we're taking the recipe from the digestive system section, and it's Yogi Bhajan's Beets and Potatoes. It's a great recipe for this time of month for those of you who live in the northern hemisphere, because it features root vegetables that are very good for the digestive system at this time of year. So I wanted to show you some of the steps. One of the first steps is how to skin the peel off beets. I've cooked some beets. I used a pressure cooker. It took about 20 minutes in the pressure cooker. They need to be cooked whole. If you steam the beets or boil them, it might take up to an hour. These are medium-sized beets. It would probably take 50 minutes or so because they're very hard. The recipe calls for 2 beets and 6 potatoes. I had 4, so I cooked 4, and I can use the other 2 beets for another recipe later in the week. So once they're cooled down a little bit, I had them sitting in the sieve for 5-10 minutes just so I could handle them. And see how easily the skin just peels off? Just run it under the water and just keep peeling it off. Like that. And then when we go to dice up the beets for the recipe, we'll cut off this hard root end and the little stem end on the top. So I just wanted to show you that it's fairly simple, and it might not be something that you were very familiar with, so I thought I'd just show you that. Okay, so now we're ready to put all the ingredients together. I've got about 2 tablespoons of peanut oil heating in a pan with about a tablespoon of turmeric. Turmeric's the favorite root to use for lots of healing properties. It's good for inflammation. It's cooking in the 2 tablespoons of oil. If you don't have peanut oil, you could use another kind of oil or ghee. The recipe says to cook it for about a minute. It will change color from the bright yellow raw turmeric powder color to a nice deep brownish red color. You'll also notice that the smell changes it from a raw smell to a roasty smell. So that'll just lightly fry in the medium hot oil for about a minute. The other interesting ingredient that we're going to put in is black salt. It's an Ayurvedic salt. It's made from Indian volcanic rock salt, and then 4 Ayurvedic ingredients from trees are added. It's cooked in a furnace for 24 hours and then cooled and then mixed together and ground together to create the black salt. It's kind of a sulfury taste. It could be an acquired taste for you. It's actually quite delicious when you get used to it. Okay, so here's the turmeric. See, it's cooked well in the oil. I'm going to add the potatoes. The recipe said just bite-sized pieces. Both the potatoes and the beets have been cooked so they're nice and soft. I used a nice red skinned potato. That's a local potato from the Colorado area. Red skinned potatoes. Have the beets. It's about 3 times as much potato as beets. And stir it all around in the pot to coat the beets and the potatoes with the turmeric and the oil. And then the potatoes take on the lovely red color from the beets. So it's really quite a lovely looking dish. Next thing to do is to add the black salt. Around a teaspoon again. That's to taste. It's not as salty as a regular table salt, so you can do that to taste. I would start off with a half a teaspoon, and then you can taste it, and you can add more if you like. You can even add it later on after it's cooked if you want more. Then the recipe calls to add water, about a cup. You can start off with about a half a cup. And this is just to give it a little bit of moisture, because the next step is to mash it together. I'm just going to put it on a low heat, and then I'm going to mash it up to the consistency that it can be spread on pita bread and served with goat cheese. And again, if you don't have the pita bread, you can just use any good whole grain or rye toast that you have in your cupboard. And this will take a few minutes just to mash up, and the water will cook out slightly as well to give it a nice thick consistency. So the next steps, I'll show you that it's all mashed up and how to serve it. So here is the dish. This is the potatoes and the beets mushed up. I've used a potato masher just to mash it together. It's got a few lumps in it, just a really nice consistency. And I'm going to put the beets on the toasted pita bread. I used a nice sprouted grain pita bread. Spread around a nice layer. And then I'm just going to crumble goat cheese on the top. Just like this. You could put the goat cheese on the bottom when the pita bread comes out of the toaster. Spread it on like you would butter. It looks kind of pretty this way. That's why I thought I would put it on the top. And then to serve it, I think I'll just cut it into quarters and put it on the plate, so it's easier to pick up and eat that way. So there you have it.